A very good afternoon to all the participants. I am CMA Bhavna from Tax Research Department and I warmly welcome you all to our webinar today on the topic Inspection, Search, Seizure and Arrest Provision under GST Law. We are pleased to introduce CMA Shiba Prasad Padi sir, an accomplished professional with an impressive academic and professional background. He holds a master degree in commerce as well as a master of business administration in finance. He is also a fellow member of Institute of Cost Accountant of India and Insurance Institute of India. In addition, he is a life member of Indian Institute of Material Management and Indian Accounting Association. He is a practicing cost and management accountant based in Bhubaneswar, Odisha. His core areas of interest and expertise include GST, insurance and risk management, cost and management accounting, and audit. A passionate learner and educator in the field of GST, he has conducted over 200 learning sessions and workshops for various corporates, institutions, and NACIN. He has also authored and published several insightful articles on GST. He has served as a consultant and auditor on GST matter for several prestigious organizations including the Ministry of Railway, NALCO, RVNL, GAIL, SAIL, NTPC, etc. We are honored to have him with us today and we look forward to benefiting from his rich experience and valuable insight. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Bhavna madam. Hope I'm audible to you and my resource
Yes.
file is also visible to you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Tax Research Department of Institute of Cost Accountants of India for this opportunity. In fact, inspection, search, seizure and arrest provision under the GST law is a very important area where every practitioner and to a great extent every taxpayer must be very well aware of. Now, within 1.5 hours, we'll try to touch upon the provisions, notification and circular, and also a few case laws. And I have actually prepared one case study based on one of my case which I have handled relating to a search case, search and seizure case, which will help you to understand the provision in a better way. Hope my resource file is visible to all of you. I would like to start with this particular question which was raised in the Rajya Sabha on July 25th, 2023. There are many questions and in fact 4 questions. There are 4 questions asked to the finance minister, and the honorable deputy finance minister had actually answered all these questions, and these are the 4 questions, right? The total amount of fake GST invoice identified by GST Council during the last 5 years, whether it is a fact that fake GST invoice amounting to 63,000 crore have been identified by the GST Council in last 3 years, steps initiated by government, and details of year-wise GST fraud. Now, to answer these 4 questions, Honorable Minister of State, Ministry of Finance, Sri Pankaj Chaudhary ji replied it. It is there in public domain and in Rajya Sabha minutes. You can download this. And as we see there, from 2018-19 to 2022-23, almost 1,15,457 crore was actually the fraud amount involved, right? And if we talk about 21-22 and 22-23, 2021, 21-22 and 22-23, almost 83,395 crores of rupees was involved in relation to fraudulent ITC claimed by different taxpayers. Now, please appreciate currently around 2 lakh crore is collected every month in form of GST by state and center, and cumulatively around more than a lakh of crore in terms of fraudulent ITC and fake ITC is definitely a matter of concern. And as we are aware, following this, government actually brought in a lot of changes in relation to identification of fake ITC, registration procedure. They brought in further rigor in the portal. So gradually the quantum of fraud and the number of times of frauds are occurred has been actually reduced, is gradually reducing as we can understand. But one of the major in the hands of the tax authority is, to go for inspection, search and seizure and including arrest wherever it is as per the provision of law. So, as we are all aware that it is a self-assessment tax. GST is basically a self-assessment tax, and the taxpayers who are around 1.52 crore in numbers as on today, they have a responsibility to determine their own tax, to file the return and to discharge the tax liability. We are pretty aware about the audit provision, assessment provision, scrutiny provision, filing of annual return and reconciliation statement. Despite that, wherever the tax authorities feel that there is a evasion or there is a non-compliance or there is revenue leakage, they have been given enormous power under the provision of the law to initiate inspection or search or to seize the goods and even to arrest wherever the provision allow them. Now the discussion for today is these four areas. In fact, search, inspection, search, seizure and arrest under the GST law. And to know these four provisions in detail, we need to learn about the provision about a few sections of the CGST Act and few rules of the CGST rules. The most important section is section 67. I think many of us, we have encountered with this provision of 67, which basically deals with inspection provisions. And if you go through this particular provision, section 67, we find that there are 12 subsections. Section 67 has 12 subsections relating to inspection and legal provision. And we will try to discuss the important provision of 67 and other sections before we go to other issues like notification circular, rules, forms, and case laws. Now, when we look at this in, section 67, 67(1) deals with provides inspection based on reason to believe by joint commissioner or higher. So any officer, proper officer here is a joint commissioner or any officer above the rank of a joint commissioner. So section 67 subsection 1 permits a joint commissioner or any officer above a joint commissioner or anyone who has been authorized by him to make an inspection of the premises. So any taxable person and any business premises, whether principal place of business or additional place of business, whether he is dealing with transportation of or storing of goods, then wherever the joint commissioner or any officer above the rank of joint commissioner, he has reason to believe that there is evasion of tax or there is a wrong claim or excess claim of input tax credit, or there is any kind of contravention to any of the provision of the act or the rules, then they can actually go for an inspection. The joint commissioner himself or anybody authorized by the joint commissioner can actually make an inspection, that is as per the provision of 67(1). Now, when I go through the provision of 67(2), section 67 subsection 2 of the CGST Act 2017, it provides relating to making search a seizure based on new or additional reason. So this particular section 67 subsection 2 allows search or seizure where goods are liable to confiscation or the documents are secreted in any place. If the officer has reason to believe that the goods or the documents have been secreted in any place, then they have actually a power to make inspection of such premises, right? So, of course, authorization is not required on the part of the joint commissioner or anybody authorized by the joint commissioner or any officer above the rank of joint commissioner. In writing, authorization is not required. to make such inspection of any place of business or even a secreted place. Now, section 67(3) talks about return of documents not relied upon, return of documents not relied upon within 30 days of issue. So any document which is in the due course taken into custody or seized by the department, by the team, enforcement team, it must be returned to the taxpayer within 30 days. Any document which they rely upon for issuing the notice may be kept by them, seized by them, retained by them, but any document which they don't rely upon the issue of the notice, they must return that within 30 days. So section 67, in fact, is a very important section where we need to understand the powers and duties of the inspecting authority, the authority who will make inspection or who's allowed to make inspection, and also some of the rights of the taxpayer. Now, section 67(4), when we look at power to seal or break open the premises or receptacles. So that 67(4) talks about the officer may seal or break open premises or receptacles if access is denied. So that is why we are all pretty aware about the provision given to the a tax officer under the CGST Act, wherever they have reason to believe, this is a very important term, reason to believe, they have reason to believe that there is tax evasion or non-compliance or short payment or wrong payment of tax or even excess claim of ITC. So they have power to break open section 67 subsection 4. Similarly, section 67 subsection 6 provides seizure of goods. It can be released provisionally upon execution of a bond or furnishing of security or payment of applicable dues. So very often upon seizure, we get the goods released by submitting a bond. The time limit to issue the notice is within 6 months from the seizure. The seized goods must be returned within 6 months. That is the time limit. If no notice is issued within 6 months, which is of course extendable by another 6 months, then the seized goods must be returned. That is what the provision of 67 7 subsection 7 provides. Now, in case of perishable goods, right, the government may have already notified what are the perishable goods, in fact, and the inventory must be prepared in case of a perishable goods as per the provision of section 67, subsection 8 and 9. Section 67(10) talk about criminal procedure code provisions, right? The code of criminal procedure relating to search and seizure is applicable, and here the commissioner acts as a magistrate. So magistrate power is given to commissioner under section 67 subsection 10 as per the criminal procedure code. Then commissioner 67(12), if we look at, the commissioner may authorize purchase of goods or services to check issuance of invoices. So section 67 is a very important provision where, in fact, the officer, joint commissioner rank or above, has been given with power to inspect any place of business or additional place of business or any place where they have reason to believe that documents and goods or records are maintained, which they need to verify. Then when let us quickly discuss some of the provisions, some of the sections, then only I will take you through notification circulars and then case laws, and then we will go through a particular case relating to search and seizure, which I've handled. Now coming to section 67, 68, inspection of goods in movement, the yes. Coming to the provision of section 68, inspection of goods in movement. In fact, any conveyance or any vehicle carrying any consignment of goods or vehicle goods of value exceeding the amount as specified, that can be inspected when it is in movement. So as we are quite aware about removal of check gates and implementation of e-way bill, very soon also we'll be widely experiencing RFID and test and check measures. These measures are ensured as per the provision of section 68, where the goods under movement they can be intercepted by the enforcement team, and they have a power to intercept the vehicle and to make inspection of such goods which are in movement. Now, when we look at the provision of section 69, right, 69, particularly in reference to section 68, as I have said, in reference to section 68, e-way bill is very important, where the number of days, eligible for movement of goods upon the distance of the route which is to be traveled by the vehicle. The validity of e-way bill depends on that, and as we are aware pretty very much about the part A and part B of the e-way bill, and the importance of e-way bill when goods are under movement as per the provisions of section 68. Now, after this provision of 68, let us quickly discuss about the power to arrest. The provision of section 69, power to arrest, as as given by the act to the proper officer. Now, this section 69, when we look at or when we go to the provision, it empowers the commissioner to authorize the arrest of individuals who are suspected that they are involved in committing specific offense under section 132. 132 also we will discuss in detail. Now, commissioner can actually make an order to arrest any person who's involved in any specific offense as specified in section 132. But please appreciate, here no joint commissioner or below rank, here only commissioner can authorize or has to authorize. Now, only commissioner can authorize, as we have already discussed, and the arrested person must be informed on what ground he is going to be arrested, right? And again, the person after getting arrested by the commissioner must be produced before a magistrate within 24 hours for cognizable offense, right? Non-cognizable and bailable offense, the deputy commissioner or the assistant commissioner may grant bail, but all arrests that the commissioner does must be undertaken or done as per the provision of Code of Criminal Procedure 1973. That again, the safeguarding measure here is reason to believe. If there is reason to believe and upon specific direction of the commissioner, a person can be arrested, and bail of the arrested person is subject to judicial review. And as we have already discussed, there is a very famous case recently pronounced by the Honorable Supreme Court relating to Radhika Agarwal, which we'll discuss to a great extent to understand the importance of reason to believe, and the importance of evidence and documents, source of documents. Section 69 has given power to commissioner to arrest a person who, if there is a reason to believe that the person has committed any offense which is pronounced or which is there as per the section 132. Section 70, power to summon persons to give evidence and produce documents. Again, as we are pretty aware, the proper officer can summon any person to give evidence or produce document whenever they have a reason to believe that there is tax evasion or non-compliance or excess claim of ITC or any revenue leakage. Then they have a power under section 70 to make summon, keeping the power under section 70 in mind, and exercising the power many a times. Even they summon the chairman come managing director, director of finance, head of finance, anybody they summon. which in fact later on also a clarification was issued by CBIC, which says that the authorized person or the person who's only dealing with the matter can be summoned only when that is required. Special care must be taken in case of government taxpayers. But anyway, Section 70 has given them a power to summon a person to give evidence and produce documents. That is why they ask for written submission, written statement, confession statement, and a lot of questions they usually ask when we appear before them under Section 70. Please appreciate your authorized person. They do not usually allow the person to whom they have summoned, only he has to appear before them. But in a very recent development, I think upon they have started allowing the authorized persons along with the person to whom they have asked to appear before them as per the summon. So I'm deferring the instruction and circulars to discuss later. Right now, let us quickly understand and discuss the provision of the section, the initial understanding. Then we will move on to the notification circulars and instructions. But the taxpayer can remain silent or can give statement. They cannot force. There is also they have, you have to go through the rights which a taxpayer has when he is appearing before a tax authority. So his statement is not bound to give or answer each and every question to the satisfaction of the officer who has made the summon, and he may even remain silent. That is what many cases the taxpayer does. Wherever he or she has no clear understanding about the question or the answer of that, he may remain silent. It may be replied to them later on. Now, Section 71 is a very important section. When we go through Section 71, access to business premises, why it is important? Because if you go through the provision of Section 71, it says they can, any officer, proper officer, not below the rank of Joint Commissioner or any other officer authorized by the Joint Commissioner or higher rank, has a right to access the business premises. Needless to say, business premises includes the principal place of business and all additional place of business. But here, if you have gone through the provision of Section 71, subsection 2, categorically it has mentioned about allowing the inspecting authority or any chartered accountant or cost accountant so authorized by the proper officer to allow them to gain access or to get inside the business premises, and few documents. The Section 71 subsection 2 has mentioned few documents which must be produced before the inspecting authority or during inspection, like trial balance or equivalent, right? Statement of annual financial statement duly audited wherever required. Cost audit report, even if it is a very confidential document for any company, but still Section 71 subsection 2 empower an officer, a proper officer, to ask for copy of cost audit report of the company and the income tax audit report. Only yesterday I came across a very typical situation. A very large manufacturer, large sector manufacturer, very reputed company. The Form 3CD during the course of audit. Actually, the tax officer has downloaded the Form 3CD, right? And as usual, during the course of audit, as we are all aware, they ask for many records, documents, clarifications, etc. And the taxpayer in fact facilitate and provide all those documents, records, clarification, etc. as per audit requirement. But they had not asked for the tax audit report to the taxpayer auditee. Now, yesterday when I appeared before them, when we were discussing about the audit para, they said, look, this is your Form 3CD, duly audited income tax audit report. And we find that here the quantity mentioned as purchase, sale, and also there is a reported shortage or damage quantity of this much, volume. So please explain what is this? That is not there in the stock register, or that is not getting tallied with the purchase register or stock register. Then in that case, I again inquired with the auditee like why there is a shortage or damage. Then there was some issue relating to dry metric ton weight DMT and wet metric ton weight. It is relating to a particular iron ore pellet. Then I said like the stock register which we have submitted to them, if that is on a particular basis, and subsequently if the form 3CD reports a stock quantity in another form, also mentioning about the damage in form of the difference between DMT and WMT, then it is a real problem. We have to address that issue. Purpose of telling it here is section 71 subsection 2 allow a proper officer while making an inspection, or while seeking access to information, he has also a right to demand the tax payer to provide him trial balance, audited accounts, financial statement, cost audit report, and also income tax audit report, and any other relevant record. That is a blanket permission to them. Any other relevant record can be anything which they want to establish the tax evasion or any anomaly or any of their suspicion. So it is a very important provision which everybody has to keep in mind, particularly those companies who are doing business pan India. They are doing business under one pan, and they also maintain one records, one financial statement they prepare for the business covering all the states. They do not maintain financial statements state wise. For example, profit and loss account and balance sheet, they never prepare for every state, even if they are registered in all the 30 states, right? It is made company as a whole, pan as a whole, but they ask for a copy of balance sheet and a copy of a P&L account, which is not supposed to be provided to them if it is not prepared. But here, one thing which is very important is a state specific trial balance is provided to them. Trial balance covering the operation of the entire state, or if it is a more than one distinct person, then trial balance of that particular registration can be provided to them, which section 71 subsection 2 empowers them. After this, when we look at section 130, confiscation of goods or conveyance and levy of penalty, right? Wherever they have reason to believe that there is contravention, okay, serious contravention. For example, wherever they believe that there is tax evasion, or wherever they believe that there is non-accounting of goods, or wherever they believe that the supply is without registration, or use of conveyance for transporting goods in contravention of the act, then they can actually confiscate the goods, or conveyance, and levy of also levy penalty. Now, there are many cases, but I would like to bring in one particular situation where we encountered this. Goods was coming from a state to another state, and it was a truckload consignment of raw material, and the taxpayer had mentioned the consignee address to be one of their new storehouse, a new warehouse, where the consignee's address, the delivery address was mentioned to be a new address, which was not recorded as additional place of business in the registration certificate of the taxpayer. That's it. It was good enough for them to confiscate the goods. Section 130. Section 130 empowers them to confiscate the goods or conveyance, and also to levy penalty wherever they have reason to believe that the accounting of the goods is not made properly, or the intention is to evade tax, or the supply is without registration. They said you don't have a registered place of business. So how you will be delivering it there? So from that, the learning is wherever the taxpayer is involved in any kind of business activity, including storing, warehousing, processing, manufacturing, whatever, site, yard, open yard, whatever it may be in any form, but it should be uh, included as additional place of business. That is, otherwise, they can use the provision of section 130, and they can initiate action accordingly. Now, after 130, 132, when I look at the provision of 132, punishment for certain offenses, very important, very important. I think most of us, we are quite aware about the provision of section 132. It deals with offenses under the CGST Act, and the key offenses that section 132, if you go through particularly, it says supplying of goods or services without issuing an invoice with an intention to evade tax. It's an offense under section 132. So of course we are very sure about issuing a delivery challan instead of an invoice. In certain cases, goods can move also on the basis of a delivery challan or invoice. These are the two documents based on which movement of goods should be done, right? But in case there is no invoice or there is no delivery challan, even let us assume there is no e-way bill as per the rule. Of course, if there is no invoice or no delivery challan, means there cannot be any e-way bill as such. Because to generate an e-way bill, there has to be an invoice or there has to be a delivery challan. Now, if goods are supplied or services are even supplied without issuing any particular invoice, and if the authority has reason to believe that it is nothing but evasion of tax, it is an offense under section 132, right? Even without making actual supply, we have gone through that notification relating to fake supply. Lot of guideline and circular was issued in relation to fake invoice, following this debate and discussion in the upper house of the parliament, and a lot of procedural modifications were made to avoid fake invoice. Now, we are aware that without issue of an invoice, in case of movement of goods, invoice is to be issued either before movement of goods or at the time of movement of goods, right? That is what the time of supply for the rule for movement of goods, right? Raising an invoice in relation to movement of goods. But in case the invoice has been issued without actually making any actual supply, invoice issued but no supply made, fake invoice, what we call as, it is also an offense under section 132. The other offense is availing or utilizing input tax credit using fake invoice. Lot of taxpayers, including very reputed taxpayers, MNCs, and very reputed private sector companies, even public sector companies, they were also entangled with this fake invoice. In the entire chain, if they find that a fake invoice is linked somewhere in the entire chain, then they treat all the transactions related to that particular fake invoice to be fake. So section 132 empowers them to think so. For example, any ITC, input tax credit, availed or utilized in relation to supply which was made on the basis of a fake invoice is an offense under section 132. Then similarly, tax was collected, but the deposit was made, but made after 3 months, right? So within 3 months, if deposit is made, that is not an offense as per section 132. But if tax was collected, but deposit was not made within a period of 3 months, is an offense under section 132. And what is 132 providing? Punishment in relation to certain offenses. Then fraudulent refund claims, falsification of records, or obstruction of officer. This is a very important provision which many of us not yet have encountered, right? Even if the officer, proper officer, or any of his authorized person, if there is reason to believe that he has been obstructed to do his duty, or while exercising his power, then also that is an offense under section 132. And it is not only fraudulent claim or falsification of record, but even if any officer or any authorized person, if he or she is obstructed at workplace during while discharging his or her power, is an offense under section 132. Now, what is the punishment? Section 132 provides that if the evasion amount exceeds 5 crores, right, then there can be fine along with imprisonment up to 5 years. So any the quantum of evasion, if it is established, not reason to believe, if it is established with documentary evidence and facts that the evasion amount is more than 5 crore, then the punishment as per section 132 is 5 years of imprisonment along with fine. If it is the 2 crore, but tax evaded is less than more than 2 crore, but less than equal to 5 crore. The tax evasion amount is more than 2 crore, but less than equal to 5 crore, then imprisonment of 3 years along with fine. If it is more than 1 crore, but less than 2 crore of rupees, the tax evasion, then imprisonment up to 1 year plus fine. And other offences, there can be an imprisonment up to 6 months plus fine or both. Imprisonment or fine or both. So law has given them enormous power. The tax officer, wherever they have a reason to believe, and if they can establish that really there is a tax evasion to the quantum of 5 crore or more, then a person may have to spend 5 years in prison along with payment of fine. So even for any other offense under section 132, there is a provision of 6-month imprisonment or fine or both. Now, maybe we are in the 9th year of GST, so many such cases we are not experiencing on in our day-to-day basis. I can reasonably give my individual opinion that to a great extent, tax officers, both state and center, probably at different levels are not so violent or not so inhuman to adopt to refer or to follow the provision of section 132, right? But they have enormous power. They have enormous power, and also section 132 provides that if the offense is of repetitive in nature, then and if it is a subsequent contravention, that means one offense was made earlier, committed earlier, and again the person is committing another offense of similar type, then also it can attract up to 5 years of imprisonment. So section 132 of the CGST Act, which provides provisions relating to punishment for certain offenses, is to be understood by every taxpayer and every consultant in particular, every professional in particular, to the best extent possible. When we talk about a cognizable and non-bailable offenses, so any offense relating to 130 to 1A to D, whatever I have discussed, are cognizable and non-bailable. They are cognizable offenses are non-bailable, right? Other offenses are non-cognizable and bailable. So now I have to again go through the provision of section 132 to find out what is the nature of offense and what is the allegation and what is the offense and whether it's a cognizable offense or a non-cognizable offense. Because cognizable offenses are non-bailable, sorry, non-cognizable offenses are bailable and cognizable offenses are non-bailable. I have to keep it in my mind. Uh, then let me discuss the provision of section 136 also. So the statement, the statement given by a taxpayer is very relevant in case of such and seizure and cases. Let me now take you through a live case, not live case. It is a case which I have handled. Hope it will help you to understand the provision better, because I will share the some of the documents along with the provisions in detail. Is it visible to you? Bhavna ma'am, can you confirm whether I have shared a case study? Is it visible uh, to all of you? You can at least confirm me in chat box. Uh, Can some of you please confirm in the chat box whether it is visible or not? Yeah,
Yes, sir, visible.
visible. Okay, fine. Sorry. Accidentally, by mistake, I have closed the file. Let me open the file once again. Let me open the file. Yeah. Hope it is visible, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I'll take around 15 minutes to discuss about this particular case study under section 67(2), right? Now, this is what the background is actually. There was, the CT and GST department, the enforcement department of commercial tax and GST, that means the state tax. They had in fact, seized
Hello.
50 kgs. Yes.
Hello. Sir, sorry to disturb you. Earlier case study is visible, but now it is not visible. Can you restart?
Yeah, yeah.
Can you please show it again?
Is it visible?
Yes, sir. Now it is visible.
Okay. Should I make it full screen otherwise? Yeah.
Yes,
Is
sir.
it visible now? Yeah.
Yes.
So now this is the background actually. Around 50 kgs of gold and 2 quintal means 200 kgs of silver worth around 30 crore were seized by the CTGST near Bhubaneswar airport. Actually, what happens, this gold jewelers, or rather I should say the the jewelry house or the jewelry stores, they send gold to the goldsmith who are located in different places, right? And the goldsmith take time, makes a job work for the jeweler, and they, after they complete their job work, they send it to their they send it to their they send it back to the jewelers. Now what was happening in this case is, there was a particular consignment which a jeweler had sent to Bhubaneswar for a job work, and he had sent around, there were many jewelers who had sent gold to the goldsmith for a job work, and in around 50 kgs of gold sent by different types of jewelers from different parts of the country, and around 200 kgs of silver, it was seized by the CT and GST, that means state tax, in the month of August 2024, last year August, right? So this is all about, the snippets of newspaper. Now this is what happened actually. Before this, let me show you this. I hope you are able to see a delivery challan, right? I'm showing you a delivery challan. This was a delivery challan. This was a document which was used by the particular, a particular jewelry shop or jeweler, while sending 1 kg of 995 carat gold bar to the goldsmith for making ornaments. So as you can see, he writes delivery challan at the top. This is the document, and he writes purpose job work. Is it visible? Hope it is visible. And the transport mode is logistics. As you are aware, there are logistics company who does this work for the jewelers, right? The stock type is written raw material, and you can see bill to party and ship to party is written. This name of this goldsmith is Gajanan Jewels or Jewelers. It's written bill to him and ship to him, right? And as you can see, what was sent for job work, 1 kg, one piece, 1000 gram of pure 995 carat gold amounting to 71 lakh 22,000 was sent, along with conversion factor 81.5. That means, pure gold ornaments are never made of pure gold. They make it 22 carat, and then only they make ornaments. So 81.5 is the additional weight, right, which they had sent, which was supposed to be used in the while making the ornament. Now, in the net weight of around 1081.5 grams of gold was sent. IGST was again shown as 3%, and the amount was shown as 73 lakh 35,660. Right. The remarks, it's written gold bar, the batch number of the 1 kg gold bar which was purchased from HDFC Bank is also given, and other declaration is given. Now, this was the document which was accompanying the gold delivered through the logistics by the jeweler to a goldsmith, right? And this is the root cause of the dispute. Now department said it is a delivery challan, right? And you are writing bill to ship to, right? You are writing bill to ship to. You have charged IGST, right? And it is written place of supply, though it is mentioned purpose job work, they ignored that and they seized the gold, giving argument that actually it is not a job work stock transfer, it was a sale, because it is written delivery challan number, and it is written IGST is levied and bill to ship to is mentioned. This was their contention. Bill to ship to is written, so it is a invoice, it is not a delivery challan. So it was a sale, and it was not job work. So based on this, actually, they sent a notice. Hope it is visible to you, right? I have highlighted, I have in fact, highlighted in black. I have shaded some important information which I did not want to share with you. It is only for learning purpose. Yeah. Now they issued an order of seizure under section 67, read with rule 139(2) of the CGST Act. So section 67 subsection 2 allow them to seize wherever they have reason to believe that the documents was not proper, right? So on 27th of August, right, they seized this document, right, as per annexure 1, as you can say annexure 1. And if I take you to annexure 1, it is written that it is 1.185 or 1185 gram of gold ornament, right? This is what they have seized actually, right? Okay. Now after the gold is seized, they usually take it to their custody. Okay, a joint inspection report is actually made, a joint verification statement is made at the time of seizure, a seizure statement is made, and after the seizure statement is made, they give us a notice and they take the gold into their custody, right? They also, then they start their investigation process. Now after this, this is how we actually dealt with the case. As it was a case of seizure under section 67, read with rule 139(2), our intention was to tell them that this is not a sale, this was a mere stock transfer, and stock transfer for job work, and this was supposed to again go back to the jewelry or the jeweler after the job work is over, and only bill to ship to is written on intentionally, but it is not actually an invoice, it is only a job work. Okay, as you are aware, for gold e-way bill is not to be prepared, right? So there was no e-way bill as such. Now we provided the many documents starting from the order of seizure to the delivery challan, the ledger account of the goldsmith, bank transaction statement where the goldsmith was paid for the invoices raised by them in respect to the conversion charge, sample tax invoice of the goldsmith, GSTR 2B, where because the goldsmith was making invoice of only his conversion charge, his you can say making charge. Making charge is subject to 18% GST, and he was raising invoice for making the ornament, and accordingly he was paid. The tax invoice in respect to purchase of this particular 1 kg of gold from HDFC, mentioning the batch number and all, delivery order member, goods receipt, no delivery. So we gave all documents, and what we pleaded, we said instead of consignor consignee, the delivery challan has mentioned bill to ship to inadvertently. This is only a difference. Please understand. They seized 1 kg of gold, kept it in their custody for almost more than 1 month, just because the document, instead of mentioning consignor and consignee or job worker and principal, whatever, it was written bill to party and ship to party. This one, if you can see, bill to party, ship to party, right? So just instead of this, what should have been mentioned? Consignor and consignee's address should have been mentioned. Anyway, uh, we requested them that just by not mentioning consignor consignee, the nature of job work doesn't change. And then they say, okay, in case of delivery challan, it is to be made in triplicate. The first one to for consignee, it is not written. Duplicate for transporter, it is not written. Triplicate for consignor, consignor, right? Then it is they asked, then where is the delivery challan, why it is, where is the consignor copy, where is the transporter copy, why it is not written original, duplicate, triplicate. That was also one of the reason to seize this gold, right? Then we also told them we did not mention that, we mention it manually, but all other provisions like taxable value, tax rate, tax amount, everything is mentioned. So based on this request, they took a statement in the entire process of seizure. They also do their kind of investigation and back office data verification, etc. And they also take a confession statement, they record statement of the authorized person on of all those who if they believe that they have some information to provide. Now you can see 5, 6, and 7. Yep, okay. Only those are very important to learn from this particular issue. Why you have mentioned bill to ship to, that we have discussed. Then they asked, why your delivery challan serial number is showing 2313481? Does it mean that you have issued those many delivery challans? Then we explained, no, it is the job work code and it is the serial number. Then they asked, why you are mentioning tax amount in the delivery challan, right? Then rule 36, right? Section 31, read with rule 36 says tax amount is also to be mentioned in the delivery challan, right? Then the other questions were quite common. What I want to tell you is, in the entire course of inspection, search, and seizure, many a times they ask for statements. They sometimes they say you confess and write it as confession statement if you have violated any provision, or if you have evaded any tax. So usually we never ask anyone to write a confession statement. It can only be a statement. It cannot be a confession statement. And you are not bound to give answer to each of his question immediately then and there. You have to answer his question, but you can take your own time and justify and substantiate it with your own records, books, and the situation to while answering. Now look at the ultimate result of this entire procedure. So they had seized it on they seized the 1 kg of gold on which day? They seized it on the 27th of August, right? And it took almost 1 month, 24th of September only they released the goods. So the ultimate outcome of seizure leads to confiscation, proceeding, recovery, or release. So in this case, it was the release of goods after verification. So they say that, okay, we have verified, and then we found that everything is in order, and there is no violation of any act or rule. And look, what I want to tell you here is they could have actually levied a penalty. They could have actually levied a penalty uh, under section 125 or 122, but somehow it is your understanding, and it is your argument how you actually convince them that it was only a minor breach. It is not at all very serious offense, or it is not leading to any tax evasion or tax anything. It is only a slight error in uh, description in the document, which should not be considered as tax evasion, and which should not be considered for levying penalty under section 125, which can be up to 25,000 plus 25,000 CGST and SGST, or any specific penalty under any of the provision of section 122. There are around 21 different types of situation where specific penalty can be levied amounting to 10,000 plus 10,000 in case of section 122. So this is what in fact a case relating to search. Now, let me also discuss the best practices, do's and don'ts, and things which must be taken care of during uh, search, seizure, and mm, inspection. Hope the resource file is visible to you. Yeah. So there are different rules which are to be also to be studied along with the sections of the CGST Act. Rule 139 is a very important rule which particularly has elaborately given made provision in relation to inspection, search and seizure. 139. 140 has given us a detailed provision relating to production of bond or security for provisional release of goods. I think I did not tell you like what happened for that goods which were seized because of non-mentioning of the delivery address as a place of supply. In that consignment, the entire consignment was seized actually. The consignment worth 25 lakh of rupees was seized by a particular state, the enforcement department of that particular state, and the taxpayer had to virtually arrange 25 lakh to deposit it as penalty in that particular state where he was not registered, and he had then released the goods from that state by depositing 100% penalty. And after that, he filed an appeal and he actually included the particular place as additional place of business, given them a written submission giving all evidence and declaration and citing the reason why he could not do it before. And based upon the entire thing, appeal in fact had allowed them to take the refund, and the entire money which he had paid was refunded back to him. Now this many times where the goods have been seized, bonds or security can be provided. Okay. For provisional release of the seized goods, that is what Rule 140 deals with. It's not possible to discuss the provisions of each and every section or rules, but I'm only sensitizing you, or rather, I should say, making you acquainted with the particular rules and section which one must go through to learn inspection, search, and seizure in a more detailed manner. Yeah. 141 allow the proper officer to make disposal of the perishable goods, and the 142, 144 and 144A are also the relevant rules. I'll not discuss those rules. Some of the circulars are very important. I'll come to the circulars little later, circulars and forms little later, because they can be understood uh, even by reading the circular or reading the notification in detail. But now let us understand what are the rights of the taxpayer. This is very, very important, in fact, because many times we find that the taxpayer, if he has no adequate knowledge of GST, particularly if the situation is new to him, if the situation is new to him, then actually uh, he goes to a panic mode. And unless a person guides him properly, unless a person who knows the provision stands by his side, he feels really very it's a different kind of situation what he feels. So that is why understanding the rights of a taxpayer whenever there is a inspection, search and seizure is also very important, even for a professional like us who consult, who render his consultancy to a taxpayer, private or corporate, small or big, need to understand these rights. The first one is question validity. We need to question, challenge the validity of inspection or search. On what basis you want to make inspection? What is the what is your reason to believe? We'll discuss more about it. What is the reason to believe to conduct such inspection or search? Without any reason, without any reason to believe or without any ground, you cannot make any inspection or search. So he must give you a ground or a reason to conduct while conducting inspection search. Let me take you through section 67 subsection 10. I will just highlight the provision here. It says that relating to search uh, mm, communication, right? Section 6710 provides about the communication, right? Section 6710 CRPC about commissioner acting as a magistrate. Yeah, 162. So we must ask about the uh, validity and reason to believe by the inspecting authority on the basis of which he is conducting. That is my first right. I must ask. Otherwise, I should not allow anyone and everyone to come and inspect my premises without without a proper intent and power. Second, authorization copy. I am entitled to receive an authorization copy from GST INS 1. These different inspection forms, if you look at authorization for inspection or search, is to be issued by form GST INS 01. So INS 01 he must carry without getting a copy of INS 01, inspection 01 form. How do I know that who's inspecting my premises for what? Right? So that is also one of my right to get an authorization copy of the form INS 01. Second, whatever documents they seize, whatever records or documents they seize, they are I am allowed to make copies of that, right? Section 67(5), if you look at section 67(5), it says that I can take extracts, copies, or taking that extracts may in the opinion of proper officer, right? So I should uh, keep copies of the documents or records which they take away. Very often it happens, we encounter like they take all the documents. Then how do I prepare my reply? How do I answer their questions if they take all the relevant documents with them? It may be a purchase register, sales register, invoice, delivery challan, any document. So I have a right to keep copies of the documents which they are taking with them, or which they're if they want to seize that. Provisional release, we have already discussed. There is a provision of provisional release. Every taxpayer is entitled to request for provisional release of seized goods, and whenever for that they may ask for execution of bonds or furnishing a security. So wherever required and wherever permitted and allowed, if they accept a bond or a security, then I should be allowed to take provisional, release of the seized goods. Uh, any unused seized item, right? If they have any document or any books or any records or anything which they have seized, but they don't rely upon that, then they have to return it back to me. Because in my premises, it may so happen I have documents of many other clients or some other documents I may have, right? If it is not relating to my business or the reason to believe on their part in relation to uh, mm, tax evasion or excess availment of ITC, they have to return that. And please appreciate, all these rights are to be exercised by the taxpayer by way of writing letter, making a visit, and escalating it at proper forum, proper officer, and proper office. Unless the taxpayer initiate or escalate the matter, the proper officer who has seized the document may not initiate any action from his side suo moto. I have every taxpayer has a right to be informed for what reason he is likely to be arrested or he is being arrested. So before making arrest of a person, he must be explained about the provision of law, and his rights must also be intimated to him in writing regarding his arrest. Please appreciate section 69(2). When we look at this, the provision they say anticipatory bail, non-cognizable and bailable offences, one can seek anticipatory bail, and every taxpayer has a right to appeal. Yeah, in case of any seizure or in case of imposition of any confiscation of goods or any imposition of any penalty, then section 107 provides that appeal can be made by the taxpayer at the first level of appellate authority. Uh, Again, another very important right is cross-examination. If let's say they are bringing in some other person as witness to the entire search process or investigation process or inspection process, then the taxpayer has also a right to cross-examine. Yeah, and that should also be recorded in the statement. So these are the rights, some of the rights which a taxpayer must understand and deal with while encountering such kind of inspection, search and seizure or confiscation. Then other things also are very important. There are many challenges which we face whenever there is an inspection, search and seizure, which are very uncommon. It's a fact that the authority or the department or particularly the enforcement squad or maybe even DGGI or any other tax authority, state or center, they never adhere to the mechanism of inspection, search and seizure unless they have, of course, reason to believe and very credible source of information and document and evidence that there is tax evasion, right? Otherwise, I think maybe it is the earlier part of GST implementation of GST law, but in due course of time, probably they may become more strict while dealing with the provisions relating to inspection, search and seizure. Now, let us look at some practical implementation. How we will deal with the challenge like there is a spot recovery without notice. Many times they say, okay, you pay this much of money. We have encountered this in many situations, in many cases. The tax authority, they come and they say, you deposit this much of money today itself, right? Or you pay, this is the amount you have violated, or this is the amount which you have evaded, and this is what the document, and you have to pay this much along with interest and penalty today itself, or within 7 days, or within 5 days, or within 10 days, whatever. Now, this spot recovery or immediate recovery without giving any notice should not be considered at all, because any recovery which they are going to make will be based on a notice only, right? Any kind of immediate payment by making any kind of pressure or force is uncalled for. As a taxpayer, as a consultant, we must ask them to give in writing why they are asking me or compelling me to make a spot recovery. Nowhere in the act it says that you have to pay it immediately then and there. No. So that is something which even courts in many cases have taken cognizance of many cases, and they say a taxpayer should not be compelled to pay the disputed amount or the demanded amount immediately on the spot itself or immediately within a specified time. So recovery can be made actually following an adjudication process. Please appreciate, whether it is audit, search, seizure, or scrutiny, assessment, that leads to adjudication. So once an adjudication is done, a demand will be made, right? A demand in DRC 07 makes the liability, again, that is subject to appeal, right? So the process of adjudication is open. It is even if there is an inspection, search and seizure or confiscation, it has to go through a process of adjudication. Then only the demand will be quantified and the demand can be contested or demand can be accepted. So one has to remember and understand this. So that is why any inspection, any search, any seizure doesn't directly establish any evasion of law, any evasion of tax, or any non-compliance or any kind of falsification or fabrication of any document or records, or any excess or excess claim of ITC. So it is to be proved by the department, and after adjudication only the disputed amount can be considered either for payment if the taxpayer accept it, along with applicable interest and penalty as per the demand. Otherwise, one can go for levels of appeal, first level and second level, and then the next two levels, High Court and Supreme Court, of course. Many times we find that the proper officer, they seize goods and documents that are not secreted or concealed. They cannot, if they have reason to believe that any document is secreted. Secreted means any document which can be established in relation to a tax evasion. They say that, okay, this is a document which is instrumental or which is related to a particular non-compliance or tax evasion, or excess ITC claim, excess refund claim, etc. So any document which is not considered to be secreted or not concealed, they should not, they have no power to seize that, right? One can challenge this before appropriate forum, before court of law, that it was not a document which is considered to be a secreted document or a concealed document, but they have seized it, right? So this can be challenged before the court of law to quash the proceedings. Seizure of cash, very debatable question. Can they seize cash? Can a proper officer, while making an inspection, they found cash in the business premises or principal place of business or additional place of business of the taxpayer? Can they seize cash? Yeah, so they can seize the cash. In fact, they have the power to seize the cash, but if it is relating to business only. If it is a personal cash, then the proper officer has no power to seize that. But it's very difficult to establish what is personal cash and what is cash relating to his business. That is why they seize it as per the power given to them under section 67 subsection 2. If you look at 67, the search and seizure based on new additional reason, so they can seize even cash. Please understand, they can even seize cash. But if you establish that, okay, it is my personal cash, I have withdrawn it from bank. Look, this is my bank account and this is the withdrawal slip in which I have withdrawn, and this much money is my personal. So they have no right to seize that. It's very incorrect to say they have no right, but you can say, it is better to say you can contest. You can contest as a taxpayer. I can contest that it is my personal cash, not subject to seizure. But otherwise, any cash pertaining to business, right, can be seized, even if they have credible source to establish that there is tax evasion. Very often summons are misused. Section 70, we're discussing about summon. They are misused. They are even making summon directly in the name of CMD. For example, let's say you are a big company and the promoter is summoned. Promoter doesn't know anything, but as his name is there as a director, he is summoned. All the directors are summoned, or any one director is summoned. So the section 70 many times when they misuse it, it is a harassment. It is also to be initiated at appropriate level. It is to be informed to the respective person who has made the summon that so and so person is can be summoned instead of so and so. And the CBIC guideline in respect to summon can also be referred. There is overlapping jurisdiction, right? There is overlapping jurisdiction. Section 65, audit, departmental audit, section 67, inspection or search, or section 71, access to premises, right? So it can result in overlapping or duplicative proceedings. Even both the tax authorities, state and center, if they at the same time they initiate proceeding under the provision of different sections, that also should be contested, because when there would be audit, obviously it would be a very holistic approach, and they are likely to cover all the aspects of transaction. So again, why there should be again search and seizure or inspection or search. And access to business premises is also not required under section 71 when audit is going on. In one case we experienced this. it was a trader, and his audit was going on, and during the even audit of the previous year was going on, and they entered into the premises saying that we have come for an inspection and you have to show us the records pertaining to that particular year in which audit was going on. Then we immediately asked them, sir, look, when audit is going on, we have already provided them all the records and documents and books of accounts. So it is, sir, just give me 15 minutes time, I'll call you back. Yeah. So it is uncalled for, it is not required, and they agreed to that. So the inspection for that particular year, based on some of their intelligence or some of their tips, they did not again continue with their inspection as audit was going on. Now after they make seizure of goods, right? After they make seizure of goods, they're supposed to issue the show cause notice, right? Any delay in issuing the show cause notice is actually again push the taxpayer into trauma and a lot of business inconvenience. So that also to be, it is to be brought into their notice that you have to issue the show cause notice or the demand, show cause notice, in fact, not demand, immediately after the seizure of goods, right? So these are some of the provisions which someone can definitely, someone has to be very particular about when dealing with inspection, search, and seizure. Then there are certain do's and don'ts, best practices we call it. All right. The best practices to deal with inspection, search, and seizure is maintain all the documents in a very up-to-date manner, right? If me as a taxpayer, if I'm very well, versed with the provision applicable to me, starting from invoice to all the records and documents and forms, etc. If I'm, maintaining them accurately, properly, and if it is up to date, then even if they conduct an inspection or search, it is of no much inconvenience to me. All the statutory records, right? Like reconciliation of invoice with e-waybill, returns with invoice, returns with the registers like purchase register, stock register, etc., sales register, etc. E-waybill of late has become a very important document for them to establish in relation to outward supply or inward supply or even job work, right? Many taxpayers who send goods for job work are required to file ITC 04. As we are aware, there is a period of limitation of getting back the inputs within 1 year from the date of invoice, from the date of sending it to job work, and in case of capital goods, it is 3 years. So ITC 04 is to be filed. Let's say if someone is filing ITC 04, I can tell about this particular jeweler. I asked him, like, why you are not filing ITC 04? They said, we are not aware. We have not been told to file ITC 04. I said, no, you should file ITC 04. ITC 04 would have been a solid evidence clue for you, to establish that it was sent on job work, right? Fact remains, ITC 04 is filed on a quarterly basis and immediate consignments cannot be ascertained. But if someone has a practice to file ITC 04, someone is doing it regularly, then probably even from the back transactions, someone can even during search or they would not have probably seized even anyway. So that is why we very often discuss, and we often very often we are of the opinion, and we tell all our taxpayers to maintain updated and accurate records, because that many a times helps them during inspection, search, seizure. Nevertheless, to say, for audit also, for filing return also, including annual return and reconciliation statement also, or to give any reply to any of the notice also, up-to-date and accurate record maintenance is primary for any taxpayer. Another very important thing which even many of the taxpayers are not doing is they're not responding promptly to either a summon is issued or a notice is issued. We need to promptly respond non-response of a notice or a summon can be temporary only, because he may give another 1 or 2 reminders, and after that he initiates action as per the power vested to him by the law. So instead of going to the last part of the power that he can exercise, it is always better for a taxpayer to respond promptly, effectively, all notices, all communication, all query, including summon. Any invalid proceedings is to be challenged. For example, the jurisdiction of any action in form of in form of audit, inspection, search, and seizure is to be challenged. We all know about the period of limitation for conducting audit and issuing DRC 07, issuing the audit. There is a limitation period, and in one particular case, a particular authority issued an ADT 01 for a particular year, covering the preceding years also. Then we recorded our objection to that. I said, as you have issued your ADT 01 only for a particular year, you cannot ask us to provide data in relation to the previous years, right? Because the audit, the previous years is already time barred. You cannot ask me to provide records when you have issued ADT 01 only for a particular year. So similarly, the proceedings conducted by a proper officer is to be understood, and it is to be challenged wherever it is not in line with the provision. But the very important thing is we must know the provision. Unless we know the provision, we cannot actually deal with it properly. And to know the provision these days, I think it is not very difficult for any of us to know the provision, because the act can be referred, rules can be referred, notification circulars can be referred, and with that, and the case laws also helps us to understand many of the things. Okay. Uh, without any proper documentation, and without establishment of the liability, any voluntary payment should not be done, because the voluntary payment that we actually make in DRC 03 are not refundable, right? So department is not likely to refund us any deposit that we make voluntarily under DRC 03. So any DRC 01A that they issue should be very properly examined, verified, confirmed. Then only, if the liability is established, it is worth paying it on voluntary basis. Otherwise, once a tax payment is made on voluntary basis, it will not be refunded by the department, because it's a voluntary payment that I have made. They will always challenge, why should I refund? You have made it voluntarily. So that is why it is like Lakshman Rekha. We must not cross this. Before we make payment, we must verify it to its exactitude, whether it falls under the category of liability for me or not. That is to be understood and emphasized, and then only the decision is accordingly to be taken, right? Document all interactions. Yes, very, very, very important. Few days back, I attended a personal hearing on behalf of a particular taxpayer. I have a copy of the document that I have submitted. I have a copy of a Hajira, what we call as attendance sheet, which we gave. And I have also a copy of submission of authorization letter, right? All the 3 documents have been duly authorized to be received by them with their seal, signature, stamp, signature, and date, right? But I get a notice that you didn't respond to our note. I get my client get again a notice from the authority, which stated that neither you appeared in person, nor your authorized representative, nor you submitted any document, nor you submitted any clarification to our query. So we are hereby giving you another opportunity. So this happens, unfortunately, right? Knowingly or unknowingly. And sometimes, unfortunately, the system driven notices also comes in this format. So one has to be very particular about maintaining documentary evidence in relation to all interaction. Nevertheless, they will not share many statements which they take from you. But if I say that no, I need it, otherwise I'll not sign, then they are bound to share a copy of that with me, even if it is my own statement. I have a right to get my own statement, as we get a record of personal hearing whenever we appear before any authority, whether audit or uh, appeal or adjudication. We have a right to get a record of personal hearing, right? Fact remains, many of the authorities don't give. Very few of them, they have their own format to give a record of personal hearing, which is of very importance for me to present it as a kind of evidence tomorrow if dispute further persist. So it is wise to keep all the documents of all the interactions. If he is not he is not signing it, he is not acknowledging, then at least you yourself, in absence, in presence of unwitness, sign it and preserve the minutes of meeting or the outcomes of the discussion or the key points of the discussion. Uh, we have already discussed about cross examination. Every taxpayer has a right to request for cross examination, and then as a taxpayer, even I can ask for copies of my documents. uh, Very important for me how I maintain my staff, how I educate my staff and train my staffs, and how I take help of my own advisors. That is also equally important. So there are many issues. In fact, when we talk about in inspection, search, seizure, and uh, arrest, the provision, even though it is not yet widely used by many of the tax officers, and many of the taxpayers have also not encountered it with it till now. But I think as a professional, as a practicing cost accountant, as a taxpayer, as an executive, all of us, we must be ready with the provisions relating to these four: uh, inspection, search, seizure, and arrest. Reason: they come unforeseen, they come suddenly, they, even though they are uncalled for, but even without any mistake or any kind of non-compliance from our side, still based on certain third party information or any enforcement tips or intelligence tips, any of the tax authority may initiate any of these four activity for any of our business. So whether small or big or large or medium, all the taxpayers must be very well versed with the provisions relating to inspection, search, seizure, and arrest. So far we have focused on audit, we have focused on written filing, we have focused on appeal, and we have focused on documentation like invoicing, e-way bill, TDS, etc. But this is also an important area where all of us must be very well versed with. So ladies and gentlemen, it's 4:30 almost. I don't find any question in the chat box, but nevertheless, you can we can be in touch. I have given my email ID and non email ID which you can refer in case of any interaction is required. Otherwise, I think the provisions are not too many in respect to inspection, search, seizure, and arrest. Case laws and notifications, maybe in some other session someone will discuss, or if I get opportunity, will discuss particularly relevant case laws where the honorable court and different high courts, how they have taken cognizance of different situations in relation to these four activity: inspection, search, seizure, and arrest. So thank you very much. Thank you, Tax Research Department of my institute, Institute of Cost Accountants of India, for this opportunity. And with this, we can close because I have to attend another meeting at 5 o'clock. I have to rest.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for such an engaging and enriching session. Thank you.
But Bhavna ma'am, keep a note of it. I could not discuss the case laws. I could not discuss the notifications, circulars, and instructions. There are quite a few notifications, circulars, and instructions issued by CBIC pertaining to these four, and some maybe around 2025 relevant case laws, including Radhika Agarwal, the recent one, probably should be discussed with the participants so that they learn more and they can connect the provision of this to the notifications and current developments and the case laws. Thank you.
Okay, sir, I'll note it and talk with madam.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.